The date was May 24, 2025. Darkness still clung to Kyiv. Then the sirens began their mournful cry. Russia had launched a massive assault. Missiles and drones filled the pre-dawn sky. It was one of the heaviest barrages in weeks. The capital braced for impact. Fear gripped its resilient citizens. Explosions thundered across the city. 14 ballistic missiles streaked towards their targets. Alongside them, a swarm of 250 attack drones buzzed menacingly.
Ukrainian air defenses sprang into action. They fought bravely against the onslaught. The sky became a battlefield itself. Debris rained down. Smoke billowed from impact sites. Each blast was a fresh wound on the city's soul.
President Volodymyr Zelensky called it a difficult night for all of Ukraine. In Kyiv alone, at least 50 people were injured, homes were damaged. Across the nation, the toll was deadlier. 13 lives were extinguished. Then, something unexpected happened. Hours after the skies over Kyiv erupted in violence, a different kind of news emerged. Russia and Ukraine conducted a significant prisoner exchange. Hundreds of soldiers were coming home.
Initial reports spoke of over 200 prisoners exchanged by each side. But the numbers grew. Almost 800 were released on the first day. Another 600 followed on the second. This was part of a larger agreement, an agreement to release 1,000 prisoners from each side.
Many of those exchanged were frontline fighters. Some had endured captivity for over a year. The images were powerful. Ukrainian prisoners, heads shaved, draped in their nation's blue and yellow flag. They embraced loved ones. They made emotional phone calls. The juxtaposition was jarring. A massive missile attack, followed by a large-scale prisoner swap. This is the cruel paradox of war, where acts of extreme violence can coexist with moments of calculated mercy. The exchange did not signal a ceasefire. Intense battles raged on. Tactics on the 620-mile front line remained unchanged.
The United Nations has reported disturbing trends, increasing executions of Ukrainian prisoners of war by Russian forces, over 150 documented cases. Such reports cast a dark shadow. They highlight the grim realities faced by those captured.
Why engage in such an exchange amidst such hostility? Both sides have reasons. For Ukraine, the return of its defenders is a morale boost. For Russia, it might be a way to secure its own captured troops, or perhaps a more complex strategic calculation. Section 4. Decoding the timing strategy or coincidence. The timing was everything, or was it? Analysts immediately seized upon the sequence of events. First, the rain of missiles on Kyiv. Then, the announcement of the prisoner swap. Was this mere coincidence? Unlikely, many experts suggested. The gears of war and negotiation often grind in tandem, each influencing the other in unseen ways.
One theory quickly gained traction. The attack was a show of force, a brutal message sent to Kyiv, perhaps to pressure Ukraine ahead of the swap, to make them negotiate from a perceived position of weakness.
Another interpretation pointed inwards, towards Moscow. Could the attack have been a strategic distraction, a way to mask internal tensions within Russia, or to appease hardliners who might view any exchange as a concession? War is theater, after all, and leaders often play to multiple audiences simultaneously. Section 5. Voices from the fray, expert analysis and speculation. Political commentators and security analysts weighed in. Their opinions varied. Some saw the swap as a potential opening, a sign of back-channel communications, perhaps even a tentative step towards broader talks. Could this be a crack in the wall of hostility? A signal that dialogue, however limited, was still possible? Hope, however faint, flickered.
Others were far more skeptical. They viewed the exchange as an isolated event, a transaction born of necessity, not a change of heart. UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy's words echoed this sentiment. He condemned the Russian attacks, stating they were not the actions of a country that wants peace.
Was it all just psychological warfare, another move in a complex game of chess? The cruel paradox might simply be a feature, not a bug, of modern conflict. Section 6. A fragile hope or a fleeting moment? What did this prisoner exchange truly signify for the wider conflict? Was it a fragile olive branch, or merely a fleeting moment of humanity in an otherwise brutal war? It is incredibly difficult to interpret such events with certainty, especially when they occur against a backdrop of relentless fighting. The war grinds on, lives are lost daily, cities are shelled, The prisoner swap, while a positive development for those involved, did not alter this fundamental reality. The human element is undeniable. The joy of reunion, the relief of families. These moments matter profoundly. They offer a glimpse of what peace could mean, but they also highlight the immense suffering that continues. For every soldier returned, many more remain in captivity, or on the front lines facing an uncertain fate. This event could be a minor footnote in a long and bloody history, or it could be something more, a tiny seed from which something larger might grow. Section 7, the unwritten chapter, what lies ahead for Ukraine? The future remains an unwritten chapter, penned daily in blood and uncertainty. Will more prisoner swaps follow this significant exchange? Could this be the start of a more regular mechanism? A small, consistent channel of communication even as the cannons roar? Or will the escalation cycle resume its grim trajectory? Will this exchange be remembered as an isolated incident, a brief interlude before the storm intensified once more? The missile attack on Kyiv serves as a potent reminder. Russia's willingness to inflict pain remains undiminished. The path to peace is fraught with peril and many obstacles. Could these events, the attack and the swap, paradoxically lead to more substantive negotiations, some analysts wonder? Perhaps the stark contrast forces a reevaluation on both sides, a recognition of the costs and the potential, however slim, for alternatives. Calls for global pressure on Moscow for a ceasefire continue. The questions hang heavy in the air. Is this a turning point, or just another twist in a long and winding road? For Ukraine, the fight for survival continues. The world watches, hoping for peace, fearing the alternative.